This is Dog doing my. This is more of a documentary video. Watching Love Is Blind. Uh, my marathon that I got going on. Um, before I travel in the terrible weather and go to work. Um, I'm watching they're meeting the parents and the families and like the brothers and sisters, and I was thinking like how I would be, you know, you ever like put yourself in certain positions or whatever, considering how you would be or whatever. And I'm like, I'm a flipping vampire, but I know it don't mean very much in this situation, but I'm like, how would that work? like, like I feel so bad. Like, part of me feels really sad, honestly. It's like a temporary sadness. It's like just who I am, right? But I'm like, when I was younger, before I became a vampire, different story, right? But now I'm like, I'm extremely respectful, and I'm really good on my character. I think, especially when the alpha male side of me comes out. So like meeting parents, it's weird because they're talking about, so like, so I realize that some of the conversations they're having is just getting to know the person, and just making building that relationship. But for me, I got a dark side, and I'm like, well, let's make this interesting. I'm not gonna, for me to be happy or whatever. Well, I want a little entertainment. I know it sounds kind of bad, but it's like, what, like there's got. I don't think that sounds bad. I mean, there's a time and place for things, but clearly, if I'm gonna meet, you know, oh, the lady that I'm with or whatever, if I'm gonna meet her parents in this situation, this scenario, for me to be comfortable, let me say this: for me to be comfortable, you know, there's gonna be a back and forth, right? I can't. Like I've been the guy when I was younger who just sat there and just kind of nodded his head or whatever, like hello sir, hello ma'am. I can do that, but here's the thing. Here's what's gonna happen. Okay, look, like I can do that. There don't have to be anything in it for me. Heck, it could just be for the lady. Um, but here's the thing: if I get very passive aggressive by keeping if I'm not, especially if I'm not having a good time, um, my my magical energy is gonna is part of me. This is bad. This is my dark side talking right now. Part of me wants to do that because here's what's gonna happen. My alpha energy is gonna be so strong with passive aggressivism. My person, like how I am right now, I'm gonna be completely chill. Nothing. But my energy is gonna be like, wow, there's a big wild animal inside of me, and it's giving off, radiating extreme energy in a 50-foot radius because I'm magical. But that's not all. That's just the alpha side of me. My vampirism, which I can control, I won't turn into a scary vampire. I can control that. But my skin, to if it, to a certain point, if I'm just nodding my head, just being you know, wearing a sweater, which I do sometimes like to do in special occasions. If I'm sitting there wearing a sweater, and there's a father across the table. Let's say there's bread on the table. There's a father. There's a mother. There's the lady that I'm with, and I'm being very respectful and trying my best. And this guy on the other side is toying with me, which that's completely normal. The vampire inside of me. Okay, look, I'm going to go ahead and take this a step further. Let's say that these parents are mature people, and they're, let's say, best case scenario, given all of this, let's say they were prepped. They were told and given information. Maybe we talked on the phone a little bit before. They know, we have this kind of chill conversation. But knowing parents, they want to get to there's an instinctual thing to get to know the person that their daughter is with. And let's say that this father on the other side of this table knows bread, let's say this man, let's say he's just extremely solid, extremely, I don't know. It could be many. This guy's got it all. But he's humble and he's just like trying his best, doing all this thing. Or let's say he's, kind of, let's say that in this relationship that, it appears that the mother is in charge. All these different things. Best case scenario. I'm wearing a sweater. My vampirism, I know, because I'm a very experienced supernatural being, that I'm probably going to be a little this is kind of difficult. This is going to turn into a therapy video because I want us to be a little scared. I think that's an honest thing. Like, I think I'm like, no, why would I be scared? I clearly know this lady. I care about this person. I'm here. I enjoy conversation. I enjoy this kind of setting and stuff like that. I feel humbled that they would want to invite me and meet me. But here's the thing. There is a natural fear that I feel. It could be from anything. It could be anything. But I'm like a chihuahua in a thunder vest. All right. If you ever see a chihuahua in a thunder vest, that chihuahua may be confident, but when that thunder starts, that chihuahua ain't so confident anymore, and he may feel scared. So more than likely, that's how I'm going to be. Okay. I haven't gone on a date. I have not gone on a date to meet parents in over a decade since I've been a vampire. So let's say that metaphorically, let's say hypothetically is the word. Hypothetically, all of this all of this, okay? And then, green lights, green light, green flags all around. The moment that man sitting across the table from me, eating a piece of bread, looks up and my face is different, I know with 100% certainty from experience and wisdom of being an older vampire that that man is gonna go crazy. Yeah, but what I mean by that is that something in his brain is going to not adjust or whatever. And mind you, that's just the vampire side of me. The alpha male, back to the alpha male thing, the energy radiating from my body alone, but that alone is enough. If I'm being quiet, I'm not, being respectful, and there's not a back and forth like the way I want it to be, or if I feel like I'm, being submissive or whatever, and I'm uncomfortable, and just all these feelings, my body's reaction, the energy is enough to stop a wild animal charging me. And I'm saying that jokingly, but that is true. I believe that. So that man sitting across the table from me is gonna be like he's extremely drunk, and over a period of time, let's say about 15-20 minutes, I know with 100% certainty that man is not going to be the same man walking in. And I don't feel good about that, mind you. I do not feel good about that. I may not care about a lot of things, and I'm just being myself and whatever, in a lot of situations. But this hypothetical situation, I love that girl, the lady that I'm with. I love her. I want to love her parents. I do. I'm a loving person in general. I am. And I commend that brave father. And I do not want him to feel uncomfortable in any which way. And that is my problem. That is my agony, if you will. And that is the truth. That is a sad truth. It's a sad truth for me. Because I know I can't have it both ways. I'm going to have to sit there across the table from this man who I care about, who I love, who I want to love more, and watch him go insane because I'm a supernatural being. Not just because I'm a vampire, but because I'm an alpha male. Not just because I'm an alpha male, but because I'm both. So I want to blame myself, but I can't. I say, oh, it's because I'm a vampire. Oh, no, it's not. It's because I'm one of the strongest, if not the strongest alpha male with spiritual energy out there. And I believe that. I believe that. So, do I want to have a back and forth and make it weird and have a weird situation, a weird format, if you will, so that I don't have my energy like that? Yes. Do I want to communicate and also be respectful and have compromise in a meeting of a mother and a father? Yes. Do I want to meet the parents of a woman I love? Yes, I do. Yes. Yes. Will that happen? Probably freaking not. Because of everything I just said. What person in their right mind? But here's the thing. here's the thing about love. I know it don't matter. I know the everything I just said. It matters to me because I'm an adult. I'm responsible. I may not look like it, but I am. And but in my own way, But I realize that a mother and a father, hopefully, a good mother and a father that this lady has, hopefully, they'll put everything aside because of love. I do truly think it's the right thing to do to meet, what they're doing on the show seems right. Meeting the parents, meeting the family. I believe that too, even though, I'm different in a lot of ways. I still believe that. I would enjoy that. Do I think it's necessary or required? No, not at all. Do I think it's optional? Yes. Do I think it's a good optional? Yes. Haven't been out on a date in over a decade. That is that's probably not true. It's probably like it's probably like maybe a time that could be considered a date that I probably forgot about. Probably one of those, but nah. Like for me, it's a lot for me, but my response is just my magical energy. I'm that chihuahua in a thunder vest. And there's a thunderstorm going on. That's my response. So, I know my problems. I know my anxiety. I know my, and rightfully so. I feel like it's justified. That's completely rational. I feel like if you've got supernatural abilities and you haven't been out on a date in a decade and you've been working on yourself, and here's this opportunity to test and to, I'm not a very prideful person, but I am a very prideful person at the same time, depending on the situation, depending on a lot of different things. And I want to prove to myself that I can do it. And I know I can. But here's the thing. I'm wearing a thunder vest. I'm scared. And I'm vocalizing my rationality. But as I said, love. I'm holding on to that. If you love with love, you can. There's bravery. I don't need that. I'm brave anyways, but I want to work on that. I want to work on that love aspect. And it is different because this is where being a vampire makes it difficult. I've said in many videos that the numbness, don't feel nothing. And it's definitely a mental, it has been a mental development of processes to be able to not only say, hey, I don't feel nothing right now, but then to build upon that and say, I know I will later, or I could, but right now I don't. It's like a temporary loss of feeling, which I know. I'm familiar with it. Maybe you've experienced that as well. But the romantic side of me, the hopeless romantic in a way, which is somewhere there. is crying. There is a sad chihuahua crying, a romantic chihuahua crying somewhere inside of me that says, "Sucks to be you, buddy." And I'm like, I know hopeless romantic chihuahua inside of me. I don't feel anything. And, but I still got, it's just temporary. Anyways. I don't know. Like, I know I should feel bad, and I do to a degree, I'm like imagining the situation, my partner, right, lady, but, and I do, and imagining, loving this person, the only feelings that I could really feel is just pity and remorse. It's just like, man, I have a lot of experience with apologizing for who I am or what I am. Over a decade's worth of apologizing, so it's just I've stopped doing all that and just go straight for the outcome without all the thinking. It's just the outcome is just pity and remorse. So I am what I am. I don't know. I don't know about dinner date with the parents. Honestly, I don't know about dinner date at all. Out in public, but it's something I'd like to do. Don't get me wrong. But I'm famous, super duper famous. I'm famous in a peculiar way. A very peculiar way. Like in a religious way. I'm famous in a spiritual religious way, which is different. Very different than being a celebrity. And, but I guess not so different in some ways, but try to downplay it. But I want to go out on a date, dinner date, have a good time. I think I've earned that. I'll say that. I'll go ahead and I'll say that statement. I'll say I've earned that. I deserve that. I think I do, honestly. Going on a nice, having a, hold on a second, I'm overwhelmed. Definitely a therapy video, definitely. It's like being on a road for me. It's like a road looking, it's a brief picture, just like a snapshot looking back over my shoulder. It's just like a long road of trauma. Just so much. So many. And, yeah, just screw. I'm in the mentality, and if you were in my shoes, I think you might be able to understand a little better. But screw everything. I want a dinner, a small table, probably Italian food, and a candle, and maybe some bread and spaghetti or something, with someone who actually loves me. And there are plenty of those people out there, but just nothing crazy. Which I know it would inevitably probably be crazy, get that way, but no, none of that. And no, none of of the bullshit. None of that. Just a nice dinner. I forget the world. I think I deserve that. That's what I want. That's what I want. I want to say that it's not asking for much, but it is. It's actually a big ask. Many factors, many variables. But gosh darn, and here's the thing, I go about, I'm talking about magic over here. I can go ahead. I don't want to do it that way. Nah, nah, I don't want that. I do not want that. I do not want, I want to do things the hard way. I want to do things the normal way in this regards, and trying to do it the normal way is extremely difficult. But that's the way I want it. I don't want the magic. I don't want the manipulation. I'm going to go ahead and say that. You can do things a certain way. I don't want to do that. I don't want that at all. I don't want to taste manipulation in my spaghetti. I don't want it. No. 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 I don't want to taste manipulation in my Monera. Monera's it's been dumb. But I'm serious. And I think the reason why I want that so bad, like, why would I want that? Why does that matter? It don't. Not really. You don't have to. Don't have to be that way, but I'm just saying I'd like that. It's just something I would like. Put down the so-called superhero cape. I should just have it be corny. Have it be lame. Have it be lame and corny. Lame and corny dinner. I want to say heck. I'll even be wearing a sweater. I probably would. I probably never wear a sweater. Probably never do that. But I would. If it meant I could have that kind of. Oh, I'm going ahead and go vocalize one thing right now. I'm going ahead and say, if I could have that empty, devoid of all other things. That nice little dinner. And now that I think about it, it don't even have to be out. It could be somewhere. It could be private. It could be a private dinner, but I'm not sure if I would even prefer that. But nah, I don't think I would. I don't know. Maybe I would. But just as long as there's a small table and emptiness, just and I know I'm using that word without describing it, but as a vampire, it makes sense. I think you'd have to actually be a vampire. I don't know if this is a fair statement or not, but I'm going to say it. I want to say that to understand the word emptiness and the way that I'm describing it, you'd have to be a vampire to understand it the way I'm describing it. And I think the reason why that emptiness would have to be there for me, or why I would want it to be there specifically, because I would want to be genuine. Genuine. And yeah, there's all the spiritual aspect in that, and being a vampire and being who I am, and all of this stuff that I'm saying is not going to be there. Of course, it's going to be there. I don't want to think about it. So in a way, it's a spiritual thing. What I'm describing, what I would like, is a spiritual thing for me. Maybe not even for me, it's just a spiritual thing in general. And I think it'd be good for me. And it's one of those things I don't understand probably completely why, just digging deeper into my, from talking about therapy or whatever, I don't know. Maybe there's more to it. There is. I'm just, I guess I don't want to talk about it. I think I'm starting to reveal some things about me. But I think I'm maybe sugarcoating the problem, or maybe the thought process of it all. But by doing that and by kind of dissecting it piece by piece, like I have been here, kind of digging to the root, talking about being genuine. I think that's significant. Anyways, I'm gonna get going. Thanks y'all for listening. I know I'm rambling. I'm gonna get going, but it's good for me to share. I appreciate, being allowed and grateful to be allowed to share my experience. So, I'll talk to y'all later. I'm gonna get going. I work in a few hours. I'm gonna get going. I'm kind of crazy right now, but I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.